3,000%.
Yeah, we're not going to forget that call. That was actually an Nvidia call, which at the time was at $174. This is pre-split. It went up to, I think we had a 205 call. We were doing the class. And it's like, yeah, that's an expensive call. And that call, like you said, went up 3,000%. But to what Shadi was saying, we turned an option call into a long-term hold. Right? So it went up so much, the value increased, that we actually exercised that contract, got 2,000 shares, and now those shares have grown. Right. So at the time it was 207, we split, which cuts it down to 20, or $220.70. That is now going up to $168. Right. So that all that equity on the way is now a long-term hold. So we're gonna go over that. Plus, I'm going to give our next 3 plays. I'm going to do that Thursday. So y'all know how this works. If you've been in EY University, we're going to break it down to a granular state where you're going to figure out why I'm looking at this position, what are the determining factors, what does the future look like for them in terms of innovation, what is in their space, and the pros and cons. And we strike with precision, man. And so y'all saw the results already. So if y'all want to join that, make sure y'all there Thursday at 7. We're going crazy.
You couldn't enjoy the soccer match yesterday?
Not soccer. Pardon. Yeah, not soccer. Yeah. But that is true. I got a DM about that. They were like, yo, y'all love soccer? I'm like, I like it. I watch it. But part of it was like, how did they get those LEDs in the rafters up there? Like, they put the stage in the upper deck with 60-foot LEDs. I wonder how many seats they have to take out to do it.
I was going to text y'all when I saw the boy floating around, but I secured it.
Yeah, it was
stage breakdown, you know.
I think there's ceiling requirements for that.
Low levitation devices, so wood fire. Got money over the crowd. What? For real.
Okay. Okay. We're going to talk about Bitcoin, but before we do that, let's talk about Nvidia.
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay. $4 trillion valuation. What is the long-term outlook as far as Nvidia is concerned?
Before we do that, can we give me a round of applause? I told you last year, right on Investfest stage. Ooh, didn't I? One of the greatest companies in the history of publicly traded markets. I think for the next 5 or 6 years, they are the most important and they are the catalyst for this AI trade. They will probably grandfather in agentic and quantum computing on some level, and we have to give them credit at a time when it was sexy to build social media apps and delivery apps, and there was a lot of copycat building in Silicon Valley. They focused on what really mattered and built the AI infrastructure for America to give us a lead at the time when Apple, probably not a fair comparison, but like Apple was David Robinson. They came in doing Tim Duncan at the time that was needed most to deliver the chip when America needed it. It's not talked about how they saved our stock market. But long-term pricing, by end of the year, I have them going to 189 flat. Within 12 to 18 months, I have it at 290, 290. You got to give Jensen a lot of credit for just, once again, being paranoid, keeping his head down, looking to, opposed to a 12-month cycle, like you said, looking to improve on a 2 to 3 month cycle. And championship culture is important, right? When we went there was no fraternizing. That's the one thing I took away. I've been to a few corporations. Usually some of them have a nice little lounge area or fogwa and cafeteria. Everyone there was working on a mission, on a purpose. And I think they built a great culture that I think the world gets to see at a larger scale. And also too, in an era where Bitcoin is just tearing down gain returns, they're the only company where you can say, well, I can invest in this equity if I'm not invested in Bitcoin to get a similar return. The gap between Bitcoin and indexes is like, there's no comparison there. Light years ahead. So, just an amazing company, and they are what I wish Apple would be.
Yeah, they have completely. We used to say Apple fights for us. Like me and my brother would have this. Apple fights for us, and it was because of how dominant Apple was and sort of potential growth for them. Nvidia has surpassed that, and I would say for definitely our Market Mondays audience, during the time we've done this show, it's the most important company. It's changed more people's financial situation than any other company that we have talked about.
Yep.
And here's the good news. They're not done.
In our era where Bitcoin, they came in being Tim Duncan companies, and then
Setting up for a 4 to 5 year run. And I would say for definitely our Market Mondays audience, during the time we've done this show, it's the most important company. It's changed more people's financial situation than any other company that we have talked about.
Yep.
And here's the good news. They're not done.
They're not done. Nowhere near close.
Like this is setting up for a 4 to 5 year run before there's even anybody near it. So you're talking about another 4 years where that stock price is going to continue to appreciate. Right? Will there be some setbacks? Yeah, and there'll be a lot of things that'll determine some of those setbacks, the functionality of some of the data centers and how AI is being used, implemented. But when we talk to people in AI, and I know we talk about OpenAI all the time, there are about 20 other applications and platforms that are relying on these GPUs for sure. And that says a lot from the small scale. From the large scale, when you talk about enterprise, you name the company in the top 10 that doesn't use Nvidia or is partnering with Nvidia, whether it's Microsoft, whether it's Broadcom, obviously TSM is a partner, Meta has already talked about their allocation of how many GPUs they're trying to get last year. You're not going to be able to lead or even compete in the space without them. And that's not going to change. And so, Fortnite is the first mark. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into 5, 6 in the next 2 to 3 years. Like it's not, and that sounds crazy because it's $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Right? Like we just in our lifetime we saw the first $1 trillion company. We're talking about a company that potentially could add an additional $1 trillion in the next 2 to 3 years. You've never seen anything like it.
5-year price, 416.84. Hold for the long term. If I made you money, please put yes in chat.
Fortnite is the first mark. I wouldn't be surprised if they get into 5, 6 in the next 2 to 3 years. Like it's not, and that sounds crazy because it's $1 trillion.
Yeah.
Right? Like we just in our lifetime we saw the first $1 trillion company. We're talking about a company that potentially could add an additional $1 trillion in the next 2 to 3 years. You've never seen anything like it.
5-year price, 416.84. Hold for the long term. If I made you money, please put yes in chat. I need a lot of y'all to stop copying and saying this video trade was yours too. Respectfully. It's all good because I can hear. But I heard y'all say that. I was like, yeah.
Except for, wait, say that number again?
416.84.
I'm just trying to calculate where that would put them at. That would probably put them over 6 trillion.
I could divide 1 every 2. Intel 2 of them should do. The Intel Pentium processor, though, when we were growing up, what? Breaks my heart.
Means nothing.
Gateway compact Intel, what's the biggest?
You remember?
Yeah, remember CompUSA?
You remember?
I do.
Goodbye.
Okay. Talk about Bitcoin. Before we start, some Investfest announcements. First and foremost, if you chronicled my journey when I went to China, you know, obviously that was something that was of great interest. So by popular demand, we have put together the China panel. We will talk about sourcing, getting all of this stuff for your home, and actually even more. Because, okay, I'm bringing the team. my interior designer.
Are you really? What?
Yep. My interior designer who went with me out there. Her name is Neffy. Shout out to her. She just opened the store in Philadelphia. She's coming. Blair, who's actually my connect on the ground out there, she lives in China. She will be traveling 20 hours from China to Atlanta to speak at Investfest. First-hand information. You know, she went out there originally for clothes. And then she got into the housing, sourcing out. So she's well-versed in not just housing, but clothes, hair, nails, whatever you can think of. So we're gonna have the China play will be broken down in full detail at Investfest. Ladies and gentlemen, you've asked for it, you received it. I could have easily put this in an ebook or sorts, but you know what? Sometimes in life you just gotta over deliver. And this is extra programming. Probably gonna put this during lunch break. So this is an extra added bonus. The schedule's already filled,
Jam-packed.
put it during lunch break. Whoever wants to come, you can come. And then also the last thing I'll say about Investfest is that VIP, we ain't forget you guys. So we're doing something this year that we have never done before. After Investfest, like a month or so after, we're going to be doing a live webinar Q&A with